classes. Today I am going to discuss the poem My Mother at 66 by Kamala Das. It's the first poem of your class 12 CBSE poem, so you know that. Before I go into the poem, I will be going over the writer. Kamala Das, as you know, was born in Malabar in South India, and she was a prolific writer both in Malayalam as well as in English. And she is an acknowledged, renowned kind of a writer all over India in terms of the Indo-Anglican literature. And several poems are there, deep, thought-provoking poems she wrote. Now this poem in particular is very autobiographical. Why autobiographical? Because her mother herself was a writer, number one. Number two, she was very close to her mother. And the feelings that I expressed here are very much close, because she herself in her lifetime, when her mother was aging, she experienced this kind of feeling that is there in the poem. So that way the poem is a bit autobiographical, you can say. Okay. Next, this poem. The poem is written in free verse. It does not have any rhymes. You can see the poem. Most significantly, the poem is written in all of the ideas of the poem are there in one single sentence. So the entire idea of the poem is conveyed in the form of one sentence, as if the writer or the poet wants to convey her ideas one after the other. So that's why you have you can say a single thread of thought which is continuing one after the other. And there is the thought of approaching death, and then there is the thought of being separated from her mother. On the other hand, she tries to divert her attention by looking at the children out, coming out of the schools and spilling out and all that. So there are contrasting images and thoughts one after the other which come. Okay, so that is there. Now in terms of the title, if you look at it, the title deals with the narrator's realization. As you can really see, the time has finally flown by. Time has passed away. Time has gone, and old age has crept up on her mother. Her mother has gradually started getting old. This is what she realizes. It revolves around the theme of advancing age and fear associated with it. Plus there is the loss of separation, fear of loss and separation from her mother. That fear is also there. So all these things are highlighted because it's a very critical age, the age which is referred to, the age of 66, which is being referred to here as the title of the poem. Next we move on to another aspect of the poem, which is the role of women. Now women have variety of roles to perform, whether it is of a mother, whether it is of a daughter, a sister, a wife, etc. But most critically, it's of the daughter. Now, as a daughter, when she grows up and she is married off, she falls into the trap of complex relationships. How? On the one hand, she has to look after her in-laws, her family, her husband. If she has children, she has to look after them. On the other hand, she has to fall back and look on her own old and aged parents. Those are the people whom she has to care for also. She has to kind of maintain two families, and it becomes almost very difficult for her to maintain all of them. If she neglects her own parents, she is sad at heart. If she neglects her duties now in her in-laws, then again there's a problem. So this is a very critical kind of a situation for the women, or particularly the daughters, as we may say. This poem, as we can see, captures the fear of the narrator of losing her mother due to declining health and loss of energy. As one grows old, there's a lack of energy, so that is hinted at here. She is disturbed by her mother's need for her and her loneliness. So her mother needs her. Old people, they need companionship. You have seen it in your class 11 story, if you remember, Portrait of a Lady. There is a need of companionship. Old people need companionship. The grandmother wants company, but unfortunately, after a time, the narrator is separated from her and all that. Then she becomes totally alone. Husband is dead and all that. So in Portrait of the Lady also we saw a similar old figure who is left alone. She is lonely. So these old people, they need company. So that is what she feels, she realizes. So her own duties and responsibilities are there. She has to look after her own family. Probably she is now married. She has to look after her in-laws, her husband, wife, husband, children. She has also to look after, if she is doing a job, she has her job and its responsibilities. So all this she has to take care of. Plus, if she has this duty back here to look after her own parents. Like in this case, she has to look after her mother, then it's become very challenging for her. She must be feeling guilty for not being able to stay with her in her old age. In her old age, it is expected that the daughter will stay with her mother for a few days, but here maybe she doesn't have that time compulsion, so she is forced to go back. Children have to leave their parents behind and move on with their commitments. That often happens. Children leave their homes, they go for a job, or if they are married, they go to some other place. So in this case, they leave their parents behind. It's quite normal and natural. The question is to strike a balance between looking after the aged parents as well as doing our duties and responsibilities. Therein lies a very subtle balance between maintaining your your duties towards your parents, duties towards your aged parents in particular, and then also performing your duties and your responsibilities that you have. That is also there. Now, there are many various images used in the poem, which I will be doing as I go into the text. So, take out the text and we'll start with the text. Okay, now we come to the line by line explanation of the text. You have your text and you see then the first line, the last line of the first para, which is it's stated. She is a sensitive writer who captures the complex subtleties of human relationships in lyrical idiom, and the example of which is My Mother at 66. So this poem is an example of that, of the capturing of human relationships in a lyrical idiom form. Now let us go through the poem. Driving from my parents' home to Cochin last Friday morning, I saw my mother beside me. So she is driving back from her parents' home. She has come here for a visit. We don't know how many days and for what reason, but anyhow she has come, and now that visit is over, she is returning. Where? To Kochi, to the airport she is going. Last Friday morning, I saw my mother beside me, doze. As they were going on that journey, there is a smooth journey, probably without any disturbance, and there is a gentle breeze blowing, which makes her mother go to a bit of a nap or a doze off. So that's what she has done. She has dozed. Open mouthed, her face ashen like that of a corpse. Open mouth means as she was sleeping, her mouth was open, and suddenly, when the poet glanced towards her mother casually, she suddenly saw her mother dozing, and very strikingly, she realized how old my mother has become. She is no longer a young lady, she is no longer even a middle-aged woman, she is crossed over that. She is now 66, so she is an old woman. And her face ashen like that of a corpse. Now, ashen like that of a corpse is an example of a simile. It's a figure of speech. It's an example of simile. The grey color is normally associated with what? The grey color is associated with a corpse. So, ashen like that of a corpse. So, this symbolizes that she is very close towards death or moving close towards death. So, here, ashen like that of a corpse means the color of the body of or the color of the appearance of her mother is similar to that of a corpse. So here she compares it. So the comparison is her mother is progressively moving towards becoming a corpse or becoming dead. That is what is being hinted at. And realized with pain that she was as old as she looked. And then suddenly realized that yes, she is much more older. Maybe she has an old picture of her mother in her mind, because maybe she is not living with her for a long period, and she has come after a period of time for a visit. That old picture that she has of her mother, maybe with a few streaks of grey hair and all, so that image is now replaced with this old image, and she realizes, oh, she is very old then. She is as old as she looked, but soon put that thought away. Why that thought away? She didn't go on thinking about it. She didn't go on going on thinking about the old age, that she will die and I will be separated, I will be motherless, etc., etc., etc. All those bad thoughts, all those sad thoughts she put away. And put away how? Soon put that thought away and looked out by looking out of the window. So on this side, suppose her mother is, she looked on the other side, which is outside the window. So she is here indulging in escapism. She is indulging in escapism to avoid the harsh reality and divert her attention towards or go away, escape from that problem. It's like you face a problem, the tiger is coming towards you to eat you up, you close your eyes, you feel you are safe. That way you avoid the reality. So here also the reality is sitting beside her. In order to avoid it or going on thinking about it, she diverts her attention to the window pane which is outside, and there she sees what? She sees something very nice. And what is that? Looked out at young trees sprinting. This is the contrast. Okay, this is the contrast here, because in the poem you will have dead and youth contrasted. The dead is symbolized through her mother, which is of course given here. Her face is ashen like a corpse and all that. But on the other hand, you have another picture, another image, which is of young trees sprinting. Now, young trees sprinting is an example of what? It's an example of sprinting. Figure of speech is an example of personification. Now, you will say, how personification? Because what is personification? Personification is the putting in of attributes, of human attributes, to non-living objects or something like that. So non-living objects are given their attributes to something else, like that. So here what happens is, human attribute of sprinting, running and all is put into the trees. And mind you, the word used is young trees. So from old she shifts to young. Okay, there's a shift to young trees sprinting. And not only are the trees young, they are sprinting as if. So that life, vitality is being hinted at through that young trees plus sprinting, all of it. Next is another image of a similar kind. The merry children spilling out of their homes. The merry children spilling out of their homes, again the same thing. It's a reference to what do you call it? It's a metaphor. Now you will say, how it is metaphor? Like you have a bag full of coins and it spills out. Okay, or you have a can full of cold drinks and it spills out of the bottle. It's just like that. Out of the homes, the children are running out. Running out how? Just as the cola fizzes out of the bottle. Similarly, the children are excited to play. That's why they're full of life and vitality. They are buzzing out of that or fizzing out of those homes to go outside and play. So again, an image of life and vitality being hinted at here. So first you have young trees sprinting, which is of course again they are in the opposite direction of death. They are in a symbol of life and youth and vitality, and also the passage of time. On the other hand, you have the mother, which is full of decay and old age. So trees, they give you the impression of as if they are running and sprinting. They are actually not running. Even if you go by train, you will have the similar feeling as if the trees are coming behind running after you, but they are not actually running. But the image here is conveyed in that fashion. Next is young merry children spilling out of their homes. I have told already, merry children, the children are very happy, they are running out of their homes, they are spilling out. It's an example of metaphor, but the simile is implied. Metaphor, you know, is an implied simile. The comparison is inside. What is the comparison I just told? It's like spilling out of beans or some cola or something out of a bottle, just as with excitement. And similar here also, the children coming out of the homes with full of excitement and frenzy. But after the airport security check, standing a few yards. Now, airport security check here, in terms of the railways, you can at least go near the go to the platform, bid goodbye to the person that you are bidding goodbye to. You can go and embrace that person. You can sit on his seat, or you can at least go near the train and bid goodbye. But here, in the case of the airport, it's a very impersonal thing. You leave the person far behind. The person who is about to travel, he takes his boarding pass and the security check, the baggage, and all that. So she was out there, standing a few yards away. I looked again at her, wan and pale. So again he looked back, and again she looked at the airport again. That same feeling, old and frail and weak. Now why does it appear so? This appears so for a different reason. What is that? The reason is, in the airport there are various. A mother appears wan and pale. Now why does she appear wan and pale? Because there's a reason, and the reason is, at the airport there are various kind of people. Mostly they are young or much younger, at least, than her. So in the contrast of those people, she appears much more aged. So this is what is said. In contrast to all the people around her, she appears to be much more aged, much more old, wan, pale, colorless. That is what is said. So wan, pale. And how wan, pale? As a late winter's moon. Late winter's moon, you know very well. It's that late moon which is very darkish, which is very lightish in color, whitish corpse-like color, again that same thing, and felt that old familiar ache. What old familiar ache? Of being separated from her mother. So as a young girl, maybe also she had the feeling, what will happen if my mother goes away? What if my mother dies? How will I survive? That fear was there in her. So that old familiar ache returned back now today in the form of a much more graver reality, that now actually my mother is aged. Actually my mother is aged, and she is going to die very soon. How will I survive? That question arises in her mind. Now, mind you, every child has that fear when he or she is a small child, or dependent on her mother at least. That what will happen if my mother goes away? What happens if my mother dies? What will I do? How will I survive? And that's the same feeling which has now returned to the poet. And she thinks, what will I do in the absence of my mother? My childhood's fear, that's why it's written. My childhood fear, that childhood fear which every child has and dreads, the same fear has written back to her. But all I said was, see you soon, Amma. Now, what did she say? She said, from that security check part, she just waved and said, see you soon, Amma. She just said it loudly. Now, this means many things. Number one, it may mean, okay, of course, as per the words suggest, that I will see you soon, don't worry, I will come back soon. It's soft, consoling words. Actually, she may not come very soon, but she's saying, I'll come soon, don't worry, I'll see you. Number two, it may also mean that this is the last time I am seeing you, mother. I may not see you when I come back the next time. Somewhat like again your portrait of a lady. When that boy was leaving, the writer was leaving for 5 years for the university, the grandmother came and kissed his forehead. He said, this is the last physical contact between me and my grandmother. 5 years later when I come, my grandmother may not be here. So that kind of feeling is here expressed. She also thinks that, okay, this is the last time I'm seeing my mother, maybe the next time around my mother won't be here. So that's why see you soon means maybe I fear I may not see you again. So there are many implications of this. All I did was smile and smile and smile. There's a repetition. Smile and smile and smile. This is an example. This is a figure of speech. Figure of speech is repetition, which emphasizes the fact that she covers up her guilt, anxiety, and agonizing thoughts of her mother's impending death by putting a smile on her due. It's like putting a veil over her. All her inner thoughts, all her inner anxiety, all her inner doubts, all the sufferings, she just put it behind, and on top what did she do? She put in a gentle smile, and what did she say? See you soon, Mama, and smile and smile. And that emphasizes that she covers up her anxiety, her agonizing thoughts, about her impending death and being separated from her mother. So that's how this poem highlights the separation that children feel, particularly daughters, about their being separated from their parents. I hope you found this video interesting and helpful to you, and if so, of course, like and share this video among your friends, and subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching. Thanks for your love and support.